Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
All right, welcome into a very special edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this wonderful, beautiful Tuesday in Tampa Bay. Oh, my God, we're in our beautiful South Tampa, downtown Tampa studios this morning. It's wonderful and special because my good friend IndyCar Tim is hanging out in Dallas. We'll get a little Cowboys perspective. My co-host today. It's also a day where we're going to have two great guests on. The usual Scott Reynolds will join us from the Pewter Report after the bye week. Are the Bucs ready to take on Tommy DeVito, his agent, and his chicken parm? And maybe even more importantly, Chris Latvala will join us, Pinellas County Commissioner, who has been in the eye of the storm, pun intended, as far as the Rays' New Deal goes. Will it pass today in Pinellas County? The vote's at 2 o'clock. We shall see. He met with the mayor yesterday and will chat with us today. And I've got a lot of questions for him. So much to get into. And whatever you think of him personally, I think you're probably going to have a very different opinion after this interview. And I hope many of you will give him the chance to say his piece. I know there's been death threats against him and actually an arrest made. He has been vilified in the media for his stance, and I think that's absolutely horrible, especially with death threats and all the absolute incredible vitriol that's been turned his way. I don't necessarily support everything that he's done and how he's handled it, but I think his heart is in the right place, and certainly he has his constituents back, and that's what you're supposed to do as an elected official. So we'll and I've had people come at me on Twitter today saying enabling this guy is not going to let you make you on the right side of history, JP, which I retorted, hey, this is a free speech zone. He's an elected official. He certainly has the right to free speech. He's certainly not, I don't think, getting a fair shake in other media markets and other places. So we'll certainly allow him free speech here to tell his side of the story. That team lost in the election, by the way. It's free speech now. So we're not silencing anybody, especially an elected official. So we will have him on at 11:30, and we will chat with him about what's about to happen with Pinellas County. There's so many questions that need to be answered. Chief of which, why are the Rays killing their own deal here? No vote has been taken to stop the funding, and the actual deadline was in March for the Pinellas County to get their bonds finished. So if they delay this vote, why is it so suddenly all important and have so important that the Rays are going to crush their own deal if this vote doesn't go their way? That seems a little silly. Anyway, good morning to you, IndyCar Tim. How are you?
Good morning. Coming off the Cowboys hangover at AT&T Stadium as we were dodging roof panels all night.
You were.
What a fiasco, man.
I was hoping that you might have got, a little nick here or there, or maybe taken a significant blow where you'd be the richest man in Texas today. Not significant enough to keep you from doing the show this morning or any other bodily functions.
If it didn't take close to 45 minutes to get from the press box to the field level, I might have just ran down there as I saw things falling.
So, yeah, what the hell happened last night at AT&T Stadium?
So
there were no punches hard enough to make the roof dislodge itself in that fight and that ridiculous. We shouldn't have call it a fight. That exhibition the other night. So what the hell happened?
So they never, ever, ever open the roof. Okay, we're in the 16th season, 15th season at AT&T Stadium now. I think the roof has been opened 7 times total.
That's it.
That's it. Don't forget it's hot here in the summer.
Yeah, that's true.
But, I mean, they open the roof a lot more across the street at the Rangers ballpark, obviously, than they do here. But, they opened it. We were taking video. Everybody was like, oh, my gosh, they're opening the roof. This is crazy. And they announced the roof was going to be open for the game. And then we're all gasping as we see this huge roof panel falling. And it's a big piece of sheet metal, right? So it's kind of flipping and flipping and flipping, like as it's falling. And I'm like, holy crap, that's going to fall in the seats. Like it's going to, where it was going to flip and it was going right into the stands. And it was a couple hours before the game.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a ton of people there, but there were people there. and it ended up landing on the field, but just next to where the field level suites are that are between where the field stops and where the stands start. We have all those weird, ridiculous, unnecessary field level suites that are down there where people are eye level with the calf muscles of all the players. I never understood that. You can't see any. I don't get it.
It's the most Dallas thing ever, and LA thing. The people,
I don't know why they're
the people that don't care about football, that are just there for the social aspect of it and drinking and want to be seen. Yeah. They get those seats. It's perfect for them. They don't give a rat's ass about the football game. So that's a perfect place for them. The basement.
I've been in one of them, and literally the only thing you can see is you have to look up at obviously the jumbo screen up there. You can't see anything on the field.
Of course.
But it landed literally up against the barrier between the field and one of those field level suites. And then as you look up, there's another piece of it just kind of like flopping, like it's going to fall too.
You had a dangler.
A dangler.
It was a dangler?
I hate when we get the danglers.
The danglers can be dangerous. Yeah.
And so, they obviously security, and we weren't privy to any of this in the press box until afterwards. But I guess the NFL was like, "Yeah, y'all need to go get that because we're not playing the game until that's secured or something. You're brought down." So they had to send all the field security and the whatever maintenance people up there to secure the other piece that was falling, and then the story went on. But it's just, I feel like that's a microcosm of the old Cowboys season. The sky is falling, JP.
Yeah.
The sky is falling.
Between your Tropicana Field having the roof blown off it and that, I think it's an absolute perfect symbol of these two franchises right now. It's just completely falling apart. It is completely falling apart.
It was bad.
And that's what happens when you have bad ownership.
By the way, I'll just throw this out there for all I know there's a lot of Cowboy haters in Tampa, in Tampa Bay area.
Of course.
Cowboys, and you've probably seen this stat already, the first team in NFL history to trail by 20 or more points in now 6 consecutive home games. That is an NFL record.
Holy.
Yeah.
Oh, and those tickets ain't cheap. Even the ones that are staring at the calf muscles.
No, they're not.
Those are not cheap.
But I will tell you this too. I have never seen that stadium not full. And I bet you it was 75% full. And out of those 75% capacity, I bet you 45% were red jersey Texan fans.
Yeah, they were pretty loud last night. They were pretty loud. So what you're saying is Bucs fans, if you've ever wanted to go to AT&T Stadium,
now's the time.
Here's a great opportunity to get cheap tickets and watch your Buccaneers beat the crap out of a very bad Cowboys team.
You got a month to plan to get here. Nathan, I know you're coming. I know you're coming.
Nathan's coming. Hey, but Cooper Rush is looking at that Bucs defense going, wait a minute. We might be able to do something here. Because in the last
Cooper
6
Rush
games,
watches game film.
In the last 6 games, if I may, the Bucs defense is ranked 32nd. My FSU math tells me that's last. That's last in 32
There's
teams.
32 teams.
Giving up 31.3 points per game and 425 yards per game. That's not good. So bad that instead of Todd Bowles taking the lectern yesterday, he turned it over to defense coordinator Larry Foote to go meet the media.
Wow.
I can't defend this. Here you go.
Is he just checking out? Is he done?
No, I just, sometimes the DC goes up there, but usually on Monday after bye week, there's usually bowls, but speaking of bye weeks, and I swear to God, I was thinking of this is on my ride over. I'm thinking, I know bowls is not good after bye weeks, just anecdotally. So I wonder what the numbers are. And I Googled it, and Joe Bucs fan article came up, and I was right. Oh, I was right. This is not good. Let me get the exact numbers here if I can. He is on a 5-game losing streak. That's not good. Here it is. Whenever the article
after
says
bye weeks
has a brutal record coming off bye weeks. He's 0-2 as a Bucs head coach. 0-2. That's losing to the Lions last year 20-6 and losing to the lowly Browns 23-17 in 2022. So his 2 bye weeks as the head coach here have not gone well. Previous to that, he won his first with that good team he had with the Jets his first year, beating the Redskins. And since then, it's been a whole lot of losing. 2016, 22-17 to the Patriots, he lost. In 2017, lost to the Panthers, 35-27 when he was with the Jets. In 2018, lost to the Patriots, 27-13. Then the 2 Bucs losses. So, again, happy birthday, Coach. We love you as a person. You know we love you. But these numbers are not good that I'm spitting out here after the bye week. In fact, you had a little stat that our good friend Greg Auman dug up, which is also very damning on his game management and his defense. So the floor is yours, my friend.
So, yeah, per Greg Allman on the X machine, Bucs have averaged 32.4 points in their last 5 games. Very impressive Bucs offense.
Mm-hmm.
But are just 1-4 in that stretch. Oh, not impressive Bucs defense. How rare is that? In NFL history, there are 826 times a team has scored 162 plus points in a 5-game span.
Mm-hmm.
Of those 826, 3 managed only 1 win. The 1983 Chiefs went 1-4. The 2019 Bucs went 1-4, and the 2024 Bucs went 1-4.
So I don't know if Todd was on that Chiefs team, or in some way directing it, but I do know the other 2 defenses were his in 19 and 24. So
yeah, 19, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of damning evidence here that suggests Todd Bowles is not doing a very good job. And here come the Danny DeVitos. I'm sorry, the Tommy DeVitos.
By the way, Bud Carson was the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs in '83.
All righty then. Great defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So here comes Tommy DeVito, who gets the start now for the bench Danny Dimes. And Bucs Nation is freaking out. We are freaking out because we know what quarterbacks who are either rookies or maybe not very accomplished quarterbacks have done to the Bucs over the years. It's been rough going. And so here comes Mr. Chicken Parm with his agent and all this stuff going on. The Giants are left for dead. But if anything they can rally around in New York, it's a guy named DeVito and Chicken Palm. All right. And now he's jumping up and down like Tally was yesterday on the video. Looking at the tape of this Bucs defense going, okay, all right, we can do something here. Malik Neighbors like, whoa, wow. They don't really like to cover people, and I'm pretty hard to cover. So we might have an opportunity here. We might just have an opportunity here at home. Who knows how cold it's going to be on Sunday. I haven't got the weather report yet. But I'm just here to say that I think a lot of Bucs fans are reasonably concerned about this game. And you know what? We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. The Giants are awful. They're freaking awful. But they've been more awful with Danny Dimes than they've been with anybody else other than Danny Dimes. If I'm not mistaken, they're 5-6 in games not started by Danny Dimes over the last 4 years. 5-6. So, and DeVito's, he's done his thing. So I'm a little concerned, and I should not be concerned. What I should be is licking my chops at this schedule that, looks like a big, rare piece of ribeye about ready to go on the grill. And let's grill that sucker up and eat. That's what you should be saying with it. Even with Mike Evans coming back, Jamel Dean is coming back. We think Mike's coming back. We don't know for sure yet, but he's out there. We'll find out more tomorrow. Jamel Dean says he's ready to play. And guess what? We just brought back Mike Edwards, the ball hawk. Now, obviously, that's, we did win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs to play some bit time for them. Went to Buffalo, didn't do much. Went to Tennessee for a week, and then the Bucs scooped him up. It's a nice get. He's a guy that knows the system. They're putting the band back together. He feels at home. It can't get any worse. They're 32nd. So yes, welcome in, Mike Edwards, and hopefully you're the spark. But I'm not so sure. This scheme that Todd Bowles is running is not working. People have figured it out, and he needs to adjust. And there needs to be some major adjustments. And if he just says we got to play it better and we got to coach it better, no, I think you need to adjust it better. I think you need some new blood. I think you need to do some different things. Stop dropping Vita Vea and Anthony Nelson to cover running backs in the flat. That's not getting it done. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. They have a a separation rate on their defense that's over 3 yards per. Over 3 yards in the NFL. Are you effing kidding me? And that's the average. That's the average. If it's a big play and they need to keep somebody in bounds, you can bet they're going to be 15 yards off and allow an easy catch and throw and just come on down the field. We've seen that time and time again. When the defense needs to make a stop, we're softer than a baby's bottom. So a lot has to change this week. I mean, I would love to be bullish on the Bucs, but it's tough. You're not giving me any reason to do so, given how this defense is played and how these games have been managed. I went on a rant last week that it's just like, I'm done watching this. I'm done. And if they go and lose to the Giants, what then? I mean, the Falcons are literally playing dead, rolling over and saying, take the division, please. I know we beat you twice. God, can you believe that?
Shocking.
But hey, here we go. Just take it. And we still, are we going to? We got the Giants. I mean, it's still literally, you see, I think Pro Football Focus or somebody ran the numbers and did all the simulations, and the Bucs now have an equal, like 47% chance of making the playoffs, almost equal to what the Falcons are.
Yeah.
I mean, even at 4-6, people, you know why? Because this schedule is an effing layup. It's a layup. If they can't get this done, there's going to be changes. Don't get it twisted. There will be changes. If this team does not make the playoffs, Todd Bowles is fired. And at this point, I would love to sit here and say, look, they did it last year. They're going to do it again. The schedule is favorable. They're too good of a team not to do this. All they need is 6 wins, I think. 6 wins and you're in. Now, I don't think I'm sure of this. 10 wins in the expanded wildcard era has always gotten you in the playoffs. And with their tiebreakers over the Commanders, I think is going to be the one. With that tiebreaker, right, that's going to get them in. That's going to get them in. And only the Chargers on this schedule, your trip to L.A., is going to be the only team where you're not favored in this schedule. So, and a lot of these you should be heavily favored. I mean, you can't go to Dallas and win. My God, Houston's been struggling.
Everybody else has,
and it's just like I'm like. By the way, you should have a poll. It's like, who on the Cowboys would you have wanted that roof panel to hit? Like Jera. I think Jera would win in a landslide, hit by his own roof.
It wouldn't be close.
If he was killed by roof of his own making,
his own roof,
that would be. That would be, and then the Cowboys go win the Super Bowl next year.
That would
be like, yeah, that would be quite the ironic thing, would it not? So yeah, it was Cooper. Like who like spin the wheel? Who you wanted to hit? So I mean, this is a layup for the Bucs. I mean, listen, winning games in the NFL, as we know, it's a dogfight every week. But this team is talented enough and getting healthy enough where it should be able to put these games away. And Baker Mayfield is playing at an all-star level. His numbers are among the top 5 in almost every critical number in the league. And I don't expect that to falter, especially with Mike Evans coming back. This should be a time. That's all I'm saying.
And again, you touched on it. The Bucs should be celebrating this week already. Y'all should be looking forward to this as a get right game, as a get back on track game, as the defense gets things right, as a tune-up. Because you got the Giants. Then you've got Carolina, another team you should just be looking past. Then you've got the Raiders, another team you should be You should have a 3-game winning streak here in 3 weeks, and it shouldn't be close. But instead, here we are discussing Tommy DeVito possibly carving up the Bucs defense in a Bucs loss. That should not be happening.
Yes, exactly. It should not be happening, but unfortunately it is. It is. And for good reason, because of how bad this defense is. So buckle up. Scott Reynolds is going to join us here at 10:30, so we'll do a little bit more Bucs there. All right, a couple other things. The Bolts tonight are at Pittsburgh on a 2-game roll here. Vasilevsky has been phenomenal. Ever since he got pulled, his goals against, I think, is about 1.5. Is that any good? Save percentage in the 950 range. Is that any good? Is that pretty good? Yeah, that's good. The
Coming
last
off a shutout, right?
Of the second highest scoring team, the Devils.
Yeah.
After beating the highest scoring team, Winnipeg, and allowing 1 goal. So, yeah, the Lightning are playing some pretty good defense. And tonight they get Braden Point back, which should help them offensively and just be better 5-on-5. He's just one of the top 10 players in the league.
You think the Lightning defensive coordinator can go help the Bucs this week?
You think if we just put Vassy at free safety, I think we got something there.
Dude,
we just put Vassy at free safety. Nothing's getting over the line.
What would Vasilevsky look like in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform?
I got to tell you, he would be quicker to the ball than these jamokes. I mean, I've seen him react, and it's
all right. We need somebody.
They don't call him the big cat for nothing, bro. Come on.
We need somebody that's really good at Photoshop listening right now to put that together. Andre Vasilevsky in a Bucs uniform.
And send it, post it on our Twitter.
Send it to us.
At Peterson Show and send it to us, and we'll put it up. Yes, come on, you Canva people. Give me Andre Vasilevsky in a Bucs uniform, but the helmet has to be the hockey mask.
Yeah,
the hockey mask with a stick, right, and a glove, playing free safety, right next to Antoine Winfield or whatever. Yeah,
so great.
To fix the Bucs defense, yes, absolutely. The big cat.
And instead of calling them pass breakups, they just call them saves.
They're just saves. We're
4 saves.
Guy headed for the goal line. Tommy DeVito's headed for the goal line. He's whack him in the head with the stick. Knock him the hell out.
Just cross-check him.
Yeah. Mario Christian says Hedman being a better linebacker.
Probably accurate.
Oh, my gosh. The Rick says the curtain would have protected Jarrah. The curtain, maybe.
They had the curtain up Friday night for some reason in a nighttime boxing exhibition.
By the way, Jarrah took in $18.1 million for that farce of a fight. It wasn't a fight. It was a farce. Tommy DeVito versus Cooper Rush. Oh, who you got?
In a fight or in the football game?
The Thanksgiving game is the Giants and the Cowboys. Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know what?
Chicken parm instead of turkey, which is a huge upgrade, by the way.
Give me the Giants in that game.
I think the Giants go on an anti-Danny Dimes run.
Right?
Yeah.
I think they
Both
did it
Bucs
before.
and Dolphins have to run the table to make the playoffs. Nope, you are wrong, Mario.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
The Bucs can go 6-1 and make the playoffs, in my opinion. Just based on history. I'm a student of history, so I have to do that.
Don't forget, it's the Bucs. I mean, it's the Falcons that they're trying to catch.
Yeah.
That thing can collapse quickly.
Yes. And it just did at Denver, by the way.
Yeah.
And they got to play outside. They got to go outside their cushy little dome and play the Washington Commanders week 16 or week 17, I guess it is.
Yeah.
The next to last game, which they're going to lose that one. They're going to lose to the Chargers, and they're going to lose to the Vikings. So they got 3 losses on their schedule at least. Okay. And the Bucs go 6-1. And, but in 3 weeks, the Bucs should be in first place.
Yeah.
Should be in first place. And if that doesn't happen, clean house. Clean house.
By the way, weather in East Rutherford, New Jersey on Sunday, 55 degrees and partly cloudy, no precipitation.
That's a perfect day.
It's football weather.
Yeah. Rick says Danny DeVito would run free through that middle secondary. You're wrong. Running down he'd be running that square in behind the linebackers with a Jersey Mike's in one hand, catch it with one hand in the other. Yeah.
By the way, I'd like to see Danny DeVito in a Giants uniform.
He should
put that together too.
Should be on the sideline. Yeah, he should be on the sideline. Absolutely. Some other quick comments here. Mario Kristen says, hate to say it, but the local radio personalities are stuck drinking the Kool-Aid about it being Pinellas County or nothing for the Rays. In my opinion, Hillsborough County has the table open to negotiating. They do.
Well, that's why we're a better alternative than local radio. There you go.
Listen, and we're going to get into this at a later time, but I'm very sympathetic to the fact that yes, the Rays could move. They could move if this deal falls through. But as Chris will say, he just wants the negotiate a better deal because this one is literally the worst deal in the history of stadiums as subsidies at a time when teams even Kansas City is turning away the Chiefs for huge subsidies for stadiums. And the smallest municipality in the history of baseball, 275,000 citizen St. Petersburg, is giving the largest subsidy to an owner who has crapped on their city forever. Like, make it make sense. I mean, I could go on and on. But yeah, there's, I think what's interesting about what Mario said is so many people have drank the Kool-Aid, and they point the finger at Hillsborough and Tampa. And folks, don't forget, it took him 15 years to get a deal done in St. Pete, where they've been, because he went through 3 mayors and finally found one that would, give him a blank check. Mm-hmm. He never wanted to build in St. Pete. It's a horrible deal, and it shouldn't. And maybe they eventually build in St. Pete, but not under these conditions, ever. I don't want to see baseball leave. Of course I don't. But I do believe there's still an option in Tampa there, and that's what I've been told by those folks. And I know Jane Castor said she wants no part of it, but she doesn't have to have a part of it. There's probably going to be a Hillsborough County deal. Right. And Hillsborough County, the SITs just passed. There's money there, but there's not an endless pot of money. There's a responsible deal to be done, just like the one that could have been done in 2018. Oh, but JP, the Bucs are not knocking at the door just yet. And again, the SITs can take care of a lot of that as well. The Glazers can certainly afford some of that, and they're not going to knock down that stadium anytime soon. The old lady just got a $140 million facelift,
right,
and she's still kind of hot. She's a Cougar, old Ray J.
Right.
Ray J's a Cougar. I mean, it's a great stadium. It still looks great. It plays great. Great surface. Yeah, it's hotter than hell in September. If the NFL would just stop giving us 1:00 games. How about a few night games early in the season, please?
It'll all be hunky-dory.
Yeah, and just get my drone tarp. I mean, I've already fixed this deal. Come on. We get the shade with the drone tarp.
Oh, drone tarp.
But again, a nice baseball stadium next door. I was speaking to someone last night about, is this doable, who would know, just in terms of land use and whatnot. Could you put a baseball stadium next to Red? Yes, absolutely. That's where Frank Morsani wanted it originally. It was they should have given the expansion team too, and he would have built next to Ray J, and all this would have been academic. But yeah, there's still a deal to be done. Here's the other thing: it's not something we don't know, but at least we'll see it proven out as soon as these tickets go on sale. Just like I spoke to Tino Martinez the other day, who played for the Rays, played for the Yankees, grew up in Tampa, knows a little something about baseball here. He said this is going to be a grand slam like he hit in the World Series. It's going to be a grand slam. Tickets are going to go so fast. They're going to sell out so fast. That place is going to have a vibe, and everybody's going to go, okay, yeah, this is where it needs to be. This is where it needs to be. Let's do this. And maybe it doesn't happen, and maybe the team leaves, and y'all can point the finger at me, whatever. The problem has always been Stu Sternberg. Through 30 mayors, through TSA, and everybody that's ever done. He went and talked to the Phillies. Right? As Chris Latvala described it, it was a one-way conversation. If you only knew how many times I've heard people describe conversations and negotiations with Stu Sternberg and the Rays as one-way conversations. You can't get a deal done when one side doesn't want to be responsible, unless you're St. Pete and you just want to give them everything, which is what Chris and these other commissioners are saying. Like, this is the worst deal ever. Let's do a better deal. And that's responsible to the taxpayers, especially in light of what has happened here with the storms. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Scott Reynolds is going to join us. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into the Pewter Report's thoughts on this upcoming game against Danny and Tommy DeVito and the Giants, and what's going on with the Bucs defense, all that good stuff. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. We're in the Jeeves Law Group studio as we speak, and we love it. You will love dealing with them, by the way. Whatever your legal issues are, give them a call. Contact them through the website, thejeeveslawgroup.com. Tell them JP sent you, and you'll get a free case evaluation. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. So if you're in an accident, the first call to thejeeveslawgroup.com. Just go to the website and contact them. And within 2 weeks, by the way. Back in 3. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results, whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all. It's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, along with IndyCar Tim Ham joining me here from our Dallas affiliates. We are brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get your concierge medicine right there. Have someone direct your medical care along with your insurance, and someone who will spend time with you and go through your blood work, go through your workouts, go through your nutrition. He's a licensed nutritionist as well, and that's Chris Lugo. Go to BayAreaModernMedicalCenter.com. BAMMC.com is the website, and get an appointment through there. BAMMC.com. All right, let's welcome in the man, the legend, the face that runs the place at Pewter Report. He is the most handsome, Scott Reynolds. What's up, brother? How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Always envious of your hair, but that's okay. We both are. Tim and I both are. We're like, is Reynolds coming on again to make us look bald? Yep.
Why?
Yeah. Every time.
Bald thing. Okay.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah. I'm not even wearing a hat today because I have a distinguished commissioner coming on, so I'm trying to look more professional.
You look like a retired professor.
I don't know.
You kind of do, yeah.
But maybe one of those retired professors, like a sleuth, or like some kind of.
I was thinking more like an archaeologist.
I've always been very fond of archaeology. I've always like one of my on my bucket list things is to go to the pyramids and be able to do some type of excavation. Yeah, find the long lost ark or something. That would be fun. Oh wait, Trump has that in his office. My bad.
That's true. He does. Yeah. The Ark of the Covenant.
The arc, it's right
Well,
there. Have
from
you
the
seen the
Nazis.
pictures?
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Why do you think he won? Come on, people. Let's go.
True story.
Get on board. True story. All right. Is Mike Evans coming back? What do you think? What do we think?
think
How's
so,
his hammy doing?
I think he'll come back. I think Jamel Dean's on his way back. Tyke Smith should be back. So, Jalen McMillan, if the hamstring cooperates, this team could be at just about full strength outside of Tristan Wirfs. So,
Wow.
yeah, I think it's good news for the Buccaneers to attack this stretch here as healthy as they can be. The key will be Todd Bowles has got to find some injury bug repellent because this team, it's like they get a guy back and they lose 2 the next week. It's like this crazy train they're on.
Usually on a Friday practice too.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening on Fridays, but they need to do like walkthroughs in the indoor, so,
in glass cases. Something.
Yeah, so nobody gets sunburned and can't play or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy what's happening on Fridays. There.
Well, just getting those guys back and then looking at the schedule, you're like, come on now. We can do this. This is like very doable. 6-1 down the stretch gets you to 10.
Yeah. Here's the crazy thing, though. The NFC, the way it's powered this year, and if you look at the teams that are in the wild card spot right now, like they're higher than the Falcons are. So the Buccaneers' best chance of getting into the playoffs still might be winning the division, right? Because you've got like 7-win teams, an 8-win team in the wild card picture right now in those spots. And Tampa Bay is like 11th in the NFC playoff picture. And the cutoff is like, 7, right? You have 4 division winners, 3 playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So they may actually have to win the division this year to get in because those teams are, whoever ends up in the wild card, unless Tampa Bay ends up with 10 wins, right? Which you have to go 6-1 for that to happen. That Chargers game is going to be very tough out there, right? In LA, not impossible, but as well as the Bucs offense is playing, the Chargers defense is the best in the league. So we've seen that even 24 points is not enough, right, to win games. Yep. Because they did that against the Falcons. On offense, they scored 24 out of the team's 26 points. They scored 24 points at Kansas City. That was not enough. 20 wasn't enough when they played the 49ers. So, Todd Bowles' defense has got to step up. Like, they've got to turn the page. I think getting Mike Edwards back is a great start because this team can literally not buy an interception. They can't go to an opposing quarterback and bribe him with enough money for an interception right now. It's crazy, right? 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, Lamar Jackson. The next week, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions against Kirk Cousins. The next week, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions against Patrick Mahomes. Last week, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions against Brock Purdy. And so
batted balls everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been like 3 or 4 or 5 every game where they're up in the air and you're just hoping someone in a Bucs uniform swoops in from off camera and curdles it and brings it in. And it never happens. They're never, because they're not even close to the receivers and covering them. That's part of the problem. I mean,
hopefully Mike Edwards he's a bit of a ball magnet.
Yes.
So I'm hoping he brings some good mojo to the secondary because it's astonishing that Winfield is a playmaker. Jordan Whitehead supposedly went to New York and became a better coverage player. I haven't seen it, but he has 6 interceptions.
Maybe it's the system
from the Jets. I don't know.
Maybe it's the system he's in.
Yeah, maybe. But I hope Mike Edwards is the spark that this secondary needs because and here's the crazy thing. Matt Matera and I have been talking about it on our Pewter pregame show, which comes out like 9:00 in the morning on game days.
Love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And we said against Kansas City, it's like, +1 might not be enough to beat the Chiefs. This team might actually have to get +2, right? To go into Kansas City on Monday night, beat the Chiefs. And sure enough, they got +1. It wasn't good enough. They lost to the Chiefs in overtime. Then we said the same thing last week against the 49ers. We're like, they might have to get +2 against the 49ers in order to win. They got +1, but it wasn't enough to beat the 49ers. So maybe Mike Edwards has enough, ball magnetism that he can get an interception or a fumble recovery, whatever, and they can get to +2 because Tampa Bay has been playing some really good teams and they've been playing them close, but it hasn't been close enough. That's the problem. It hasn't been enough. And it's if you lose the turnover battle, you're going to lose. If you're Tampa Bay, the margin of error isn't there. But even at +1, the Bucs haven't proved that they're good enough. So maybe it has to be +2, and maybe Edwards can be the guy that can help out in that department.
So Scott Reynolds joining us here from the Pewter Report. Todd Bowles after bye weeks, not good. Not good.
No,
he's lost the last two as a Bucs head coach, and is won his first. And I guess so now. What 1-7, 1-6 in the bye week?
Yeah, and I mean, and Tommy DeVito is the quarterback for the Giants, Tommy Cutlets, right? And and it's going to be interesting to see, right? Because I like their chances against Daniel Jones, who had thrown 8 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. But now DeVito comes in. He was actually 3-3 last year as a starter and had a pretty impressive win over the Packers last year. The Packers were a playoff team. And he's got 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on his football card. So he does a pretty good job for a young quarterback of not turning the ball over. And of course that's what you want. You want a Spencer Rattler who's going to gift you a couple of plays. And Todd Bowles has not done a good job, his defense, of taking the ball away. We just talked about that from these other quarterbacks. So that's something that really they have to get after Tommy DeVito, pressure him, tip some passes, get some interceptions. They've got to do something because the Giants have a pretty good ground game. I mean, Saquon Barkley is not there anymore, but Tyrone Tracy he's actually the rookie leading rusher this year. Took that mantle away from Bucky Irving during the bye week last week. And he's a formidable running back. He's averaging 5.1 yards a carry. They have Malik Neighbors on the outside who has got speed galore, and he's their leading receiver. So they've got 2 weapons for him as rookies that aren't bad. And so Todd Bowles' defense, you're not facing the 49ers now. You're not facing the Ravens. You're not facing the Chiefs. You're not facing the Falcons, who absolutely suck outside of playing the Buccaneers, mind you. But they can't lose to the Buccaneers. And Kirk Cousins is immortal against Todd Bowles' defense for some reason. But he's mortal when you play other teams, apparently. Yeah. So there's really no excuses now. There's no excuses for this defense not to go out there and do a good job and play better and win, especially with this time off during the bye week. Because instead of giving the players the week off, Todd Bowles made all the players come in and study hard and watch film. Oh, wait, no, he didn't do that.
Oh, he didn't do that.
He didn't do that. I'm sorry.
Well, he's been so successful after the bye week. His record is so good.
He didn't do that. He said, "No, you guys are tired. You're hurt. Like you take the whole week off."
Wow.
We as coaches, we'll figure this out.
Because the communication is so good, and they're so on the details, especially defensively. Take some time. Be amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Amongst yourselves. But they're not. I mean, they're not talking, and that's the problem. Yeah, that blows my mind. Especially like if you were 1-5 or 1-6, and you lost your last 5, whatever it is. Wouldn't you do something different on the bye week? Wouldn't you just like, I'm going to mix it up this week? I'm going to bring him in. We're not going to do a whole lot of physical stuff, but I'm bringing him in, have him around the facility. Get him some treatment. But we're going to be in the classroom. Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to do all that. Some team bonding would be good. Team bonding. Let's do.
I know. Maybe a players only meeting, during that time. I don't know.
None of that. We didn't get any of that.
I don't think so.
We brought in Mike Edwards.
Yeah.
And Troy Hill gets elevated.
Yeah, he does. And so you've got 2 veteran playmakers now who are better than Kayvon Merriweather and better than Christian Izzy in the slot. I don't know if Troy Hill can play outside cornerback in Todd Bowles' scheme because he's like 5'10", $182. Todd likes bigger corners. I think he could probably play that in a pinch. But I think he's there just in case something happens to Tyke Smith again, who missed a game with a concussion, who was one of those victims of the Friday practice when he banged knees with another player, and and I guess banged it pretty good to where he couldn't run. So now at least you've got a couple of options. And I think the other thing too is this allows Todd Bowles to actually go to dime defense now, right? Because it's always been, we would love to get KJ off the field and play some dime, which is essentially having 3 safeties and 3 cornerbacks and only 1 linebacker. The 1 linebacker would be Levante. But they haven't been able to do that because Winfield missed weeks. He missed 4 weeks after the season opener.
Right.
Then you've had Tyke Smith. He got dinged up in the Ravens game. Then he missed the next week, right? And then he comes back, but then he missed that the last game against the 49ers with the knee. So Todd Bowles has not had enough players he feels comfortable with putting out there. But by God, if you can wrap these guys in bubble wrap and stick them out there, it would look like this, right? You'd have Jordan Whitehead playing strong safety, like kind of like that quasi linebacker, take off KJ Britt, and put in Jordan Whitehead next to Levante at the linebacker level because he gives you range, he gives you speed, he's better in coverage, right? Even though we haven't really seen it this year,
Right?
Take my word for it. But then you bring in Mike Edwards as KJ's coming off the field. Edwards is coming on, and now you've got another rangier, better guy in coverage, a ball hawk in Edwards that can play deeper, right, with Winfield if you're doing cover 2 or quarters or whatever. Or hey, maybe you want to bring Winfield up and blitz him. Do some of those fun things that create turnovers and takeaways for your defense. Now you can do that with a better peace of mind because you can play Edwards at free safety, right, instead of Whitehead. So I think this really does give Todd Bowles some more flexibility. And again, what it does is it takes away the excuses. Well, we couldn't do this because we don't have this guy. Well, we can't do that because we didn't have him. All right, now there's no excuses. You can play dime. So figure this shit out and start making plays and stop letting quarterbacks destroy you and have career games week after week.
Yes, please. Scott Reynolds joining us from the Pewter Report. Adam Slivon wrote a great article about the outside linebackers. It says a chance for them against some not so great tackles of the Giants to put their imprint on this game and get some sacks and get some outside rush going on. Your thoughts?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? I mean,
I
don't
sure
know.
would. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of George Edwards. I'm sorry. I've said that publicly. I'm not. I don't think he's a good coach. I'm done with JTS. It's time for Chris Braswell. Like I'm done. Like
empty snaps after empty snaps.
I'm not going to blame George Edwards for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. This is year 4 of JTS, and he is what he is at this point. I don't know that even a better coach. What's a better coach going to do? Get him from 5 sacks to 6? I mean, he is what he is. He's a finesse guy. He's athletic, and he looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. And I'm just not impressed, right? So at this point, let's see what this team has in Chris Braswell, right? The only problem is, and I've seen this before, you've got a coach who needs to win to keep his job, right? And what happens when coaches are in that situation? Because here we are, lather, rinse, repeat, right? From last year, 3-1 start, 3-1 start. Slide to 4-7. Well, they're at 4-6 right now, right? Need a furious finish to make the playoffs. Need a furious finish to make the playoffs, right? So that's the script. Todd Bowles is following it again, and his job is on the line, and he needs to win out at the end to keep it. So what do coaches do in that instance? They stick with the familiar. They play the veterans. They go with the guys they know and trust, which is, I'm going to play KJ Britt. I'm not going to play Vi Jones, even though Vi Jones is faster, bigger,
way more athletic,
and can cover better. I'm not going to do that because he's a practice squad guy, right? So, and it's the same thing that we've seen at outside linebacker. Well, I know Joe. I can trust him. I can drop him in coverage. You don't need to drop your outside linebackers in coverage.
Or Vita Vea.
Yeah. I saw Shaq Barrett pick off some passes, right? And I saw JPP do that, right? Those were very good, experienced outside linebackers. Yeah. Athletic, right? Yaya Diaby is literally like the second worst guy in coverage this year on the Buccaneers per Pro Football Focus. The last guy, of course, is KJ Britt. Like he is dead last in terms of Bucs defenders. The second to last guy is Yaya Diaby. And I like Yaya. I'm still a Yaya believer, although I'm losing some faith. But I like Yaya going forward rather than backwards, right?
It's ridiculous.
I like him rushing the passer rather than dropping in coverage. I have zero confidence or faith that Yaya will ever pick off a pass.
It looks exotic. It looks super smart.
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Exactly. It doesn't work.
Same with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka.
Anthony Nelson is on a running back in the flat on third down. Oh,
right.
Look at that.
So to me,
he didn't execute.
To me, Todd Bowles should replace JTS and just make him a wave rotational guy when guys need a breather and start Chris Braswell. But he won't.
Agreed.
So
That's
again,
that's not his thing, right? He never does that.
well, he doesn't mind playing rookies when his job's like fine. Like when he's, like 2019, 2020, where he's a year or two into this, he's just the defensive coordinator. I'm going to throw Sean Murphy-Bunting out there. Hell, we're going to start Antoine Winfield Jr. without a preseason in 2020, the COVID year, at New Orleans against Drew Brees in week 1,
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, he's done that. He played Carlton Davis a bunch when he was a second-year player. Started Mike Edwards, too. So he's not afraid of playing young guys. But it's like as the pressure comes on, like, what gets tighter.
Yep.
And when coaches, I don't care who you are, when coaches are in that position, they want to go with what they know.
Don't let a rookie make a stupid mistake.
Yeah. Let the veteran keep making the same
Stupid
mistakes. I don't know.
Or let the veteran just not be able to cover. It just doesn't have the skills to do it. Yeah, that's
I don't know. Again, maybe how about just rush your pass
your rush ends. That might be good.
I mean, like Nick Bosa.
Where's
really
the genius
good
in
at rushing
that?
the passers.
Where's the genius in that?
I'm just saying, it's like, like the occasional zone blitz, fine, but he does it so much, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Especially
when it's not working, when you're 32nd in total defense the last 6 games. Maybe we stop with the cute stuff and just do basic stuff because, as I look at it, it's way too complicated. That's why there's coverage busts.
Yeah.
Nobody else has, I've never seen so many wide receivers and running backs and tight ends run so free through a secondary.
Yeah.
And it's just, and if you see nobody else doing it, then there's something wrong with the scheme.
Yeah.
Like he's scheming guys open as a defensive coordinator. It's not good.
Right.
It's not, it's not good.
Yes,
it's not good. So, all right. So
it's too much. He needs to scale it back and just rush your pass rushers, right? Get your bad coverage linebacker off the field. That was the original plan. It was the plan dating back to last year when you still played Devin White in that role. You started the season with Servassier Dennis. Why? Because you didn't trust KJ Britt on 3rd and longs or obvious passing downs. So continue doing what which is, that's bad. So stop doing it and get Vi Jones out there and groom this guy.
Who looked good in preseason, by the way.
He's really good. He's not going to get any better standing on the sidelines. That's not how the NFL works. The NFL
his
does
RAS
not
score,
work that way.
His RAS score was off the charts. That's the athletic score.
He runs a 4.51. So here's the thing. So
he was like top 10% in RAS score. I mean,
Levante David coming out of Nebraska, and we all would agree in his prime, Levante was fast. He was a very good coverage guy, et cetera, right? He ran a 4.65 coming out of Nebraska, 2nd round pick. Servassier Dennis ran a 4.64 coming out of Pittsburgh. This Vi Jones guy runs a 4.51. Now, the other linebackers you have to choose from, KJ Britt ran a 4.76 out of Auburn, and JJ Russell ran a 4.7 coming out of Memphis. So, not a fast linebacking core, except for, I don't know, the guy in the practice squad who runs a 4.51.
We showed some really good instincts in preseason.
I asked Kate Otten, I'm like, this guy, he's a practice squad guy. He faces you all the time. He's like, oh yeah, he's going to be a great coverage linebacker. Yeah, he's got all the tools. He's fast. Okay, well maybe tell Todd that. I don't know.
Tell Todd. Scott, you got to go ahead. This week you've got a Giants offense at home.
Yep.
That scores less than 16 points a game.
Yep.
Under future Hall of Famer Daniel Jones.
Yes.
You have a Bucs defense heading to the Meadowlands, allowing just under 27 points a game, I think.
31.3 in the last 6. That's what.
That's the number we should pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Something's got to
historically bad with one win in those, but I don't even know how to word this question, man. Because
this should be the get well game for the Bucs.
This should be the game.
Yeah.
But the X factor here though is going to be Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
And Tommy DeVito historically has played not horribly in his first couple of games as he's subbing for an injured Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So something's got to give here. Either the inept offense will score more points, or the inept defense will halt more points.
That's why we're all terrified.
Is there any way to figure this out? Because this could get ugly really quick on one or both sides of it, and I don't know how to approach this.
I would like Todd Bowles and the Bucs defense's chances better if it was Danny DeVito, who just turned 80 and has a hard time seeing over the line of scrimmage. That's the scouting report on Danny DeVito, right? Needs a clear throwing window. Tommy DeVito, better, a little taller,
A little bit.
mobile guy, not afraid to tuck it and run. And as we saw with noted scrambler Kirk Cousins picking up a key first down in Tampa on a 13-yard run, that's the peril that you go at with trying to rush a quarterback, is if you have those escape lanes, if you don't rush with the necessary gap integrity. This is a guy that can gash you, and it's just another problem for the Bucs linebackers. They're dropping in covers. All of a sudden, they got to run and make a tackle before the quarterback gets the first down marker. So
I might feel better about this game if Daniel Jones was starting.
Oh, I would.
I would too. Yeah, I would too.
This is not the week to change, especially.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes the quarterback change gives you a spark. Sometimes the head coaching change gives you a spark. Look at the New Orleans Saints. They're 2-0 since getting rid of Dennis Allen. So
that's right, Scott. That's why the bye week would have been a nice.
I know. I heard. I was just thinking that when I said that.
You knew I was coming with that too.
I knew. Yeah.
Speaking of the bye week, what'd you learn in the bye week? What'd you do? Did you watch any football? Did you have some fun? What'd you do during the bye week? You don't have to answer the question if it's
football right now. I've got
you can lie if you want.
Basketball T-shirt on.
Yeah,
that tells you anything, right?
Yeah. So you're out on K-State football now?
Dead to me right now.
Oh no!
Now you know how I feel.
Yeah.
You got like 30 more wins than I got.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. So I have a hard time betting against my alma mater, but everything was just like, pick Arizona State. Pick Arizona State. Just win money. You know they're going to hurt you on Saturday night.
Right.
But at least make some money off your Cats. And I couldn't do it. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bet on the damn Jayhawks. They're going to upset BYU on the road, drop 50 on them, boom, cashed 100.
Nice.
And so
that's bet on your arch rival too.
Exactly. That's where I'm at right now. I'm betting on my arch rival to help me buy some beer money so I can drown my tears for my.
So who's going to win your conference? Go ahead.
Kansas State. I don't know. I tell you what, Colorado might sneak in there and do this thing just because they have the offense.
Coach Prime's going to the playoff, baby.
Your only loss was to us. I believe. I think they lost.
No, they lost to Nebraska too. They got smoked by Nebraska.
That's right. They did. Okay, yeah. So they lost 2 games, but 1 conference game, and that was to K-State back when we were good. So yeah, I would say that. And if we
did you watch any NFL football? Did you learn anything?
I didn't watch any NFL. No, I watched the score. I needed a break from football.
Yeah, I went to the Annika and watched Brittany Lincecum finish up and watched Nelly Korda. Ooh.
What is that?
She's got a really nice swing. Yes.
Oh, like women's golf?
It's women's golf. Yes, it is women's golf. On a beautiful day at the Pelican. It was absolutely gorgeous.
I went to Amelia Island up there, just outside of Jacksonville.
Love Amelia Island.
Beach,
love that place.
Fantastic place.
I went to Wendy's. Trying to compete with you guys. Jeez.
Did you get a Frosty?
Timmy went to AT&T last night and almost got a roof shingle to hit him and be the richest man in Texas.
Did you get a Frosty when you went to Wendy's?
I don't do the Frosties now.
Who doesn't do the Frosty? How do you not do a Frosty?
You know why? Well, Frosties were ruined for me when people started dipping French fries. I can't even say it without gagging.
Yeah.
Dipping French fries into Frost, it ruined it for me.
That is evil.
I'm out. It's evil.
I believe in good
Dave's
and evil.
double.
I believe in God and the devil, and that is evil.
Yes,
Dave's double extra cheese, chili instead of fries, and a chocolate Frosty, the best.
Their chili is good, but I got to pick all the beans out of it when I get their chili because chili doesn't have beans.
I literally was driving home from Amelia Island yesterday morning, and it was probably like 11 o'clock or so, and I stopped off at Wendy's, and I'm like, I'm getting a large chocolate Frosty. And it's all I wanted because I had breakfast. So I just wanted like the Frosty. And the Frosty machine wasn't working. I was so crestfallen. I was disheveled in the brain. I was.
You should get a coupon for a free Frosty next time you come.
Well, yeah, I know. And the manager's like, sorry, man. Like, can I get you some fries, free burger?
McDonald's of them.
Yeah, I'll take a free burger, please.
No. I'll take a free burger. Yeah. That's insane.
I know.
Their baked potatoes are good too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they can
get you a chili, a baked potato.
Oh,
mix
the
them
baked potatoes
together.
are fabulous. Yeah.
They are.
Oh man,
Oh, I've always
should be a
loved them.
sponsor on Fanstream Sports.
Oh, they too good. All right, partner. Tell everybody how they can get your great content at the Pewter Report and what you got going on this week as the Bucs go up to the Meadowlands and
It's a must-win
get
game.
beat
It
by
really
Chicken
is.
Farm.
It's big. They got to win on Sunday. We'll tell you all about it this week. We have our Bucs Giants preview. It's a giant preview on tomorrow's show at 4 p.m. on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. Join the over 16,000 subscribers. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button. Boom, it helps us out. And we've got tons of Bucs content leading up to the game. I think we already have 3 or 4 stories up about the Bucs and Giants and what the Bucs need to do to get their season back on track and stop this stupid losing streak on pewterreport.com. Our roundtable is actually a really good topic this week. I think they're all pretty good. This week, it's like, what's the Bucs trap game? Like, we know that the Chargers game is going to be tough, right? They're 7-3. But out of all the other teams that have losing records, what's going to be the trap game?
That's easy.
Cowboys.
This? No. That's
Panthers.
easy. It's the same game every year almost.
Saints in Week 18.
Saints.
That's
Saints. Remember they beat them last year.
Yeah.
And week 17, all the Bucs
Well,
have
they're
to do
good now, though. It's not a trap game because they're good.
Well, I mean, they're 4-7. I mean, I don't know if they're.
But they're 2-0 the last 2 weeks. That's good.
They are 2-0. Yes, and
figured out how to use Taysom Hill.
Yeah, here's a crazy stat here. Give me a second. I gotta, because I wrote it and I forgot it because I'm an old man. But let me.
It's about the Saints.
No, it's about the Bucs and the Saints.
Okay.
Let me put on my spectacles.
There he goes.
Oh, there. Now you look like a professor.
I know. Yeah, look like Benjamin Franklin here. So let's see. So since the inception of the NFC South in 2002, the Saints are 12-11 versus the Bucs in New Orleans. But in Tampa, since that inception of the NFC South, the Saints are 15-7, including a 5-1 mark in the last 6 games. The only win that the Saints had, or I should say the Bucs had over the Saints, was 2 years ago in 2022 when they came from behind to beat them 17-16.
But most of those were under Sean Payton, though. I mean, that's a little skewed, right? I mean,
okay, but I'm just saying. Well, look at last year. To JP's point, the Buccaneers had a chance to win the division at home in Week 17, and the Saints jump out to a 23-0 lead. Okay?
Yeah,
it's just like,
and they weren't, as I recall correctly, were they even still in it at that point?
Yeah, they were, and that win gave them life because both teams actually finished 9-8.
Right.
But the thing is, the Buccaneers, they end the Saints' playoff chances, and they win the division in Week 17
at home.
At home. They didn't get it done. They got smoked 23-0 in the first 3 quarters. I think the Bucs scored some garbage time points, and that was it. So I don't know. Big season ahead, second half of the season, but it starts on Sunday, Bucs versus Giants.
Right, we'll be tuning into the Pewter Report for game day on Sunday at 9:00. Early start. The Bucs are 3.5-point favorites on the road at the Meadowlands, and it's Tommy DeVito, and I'm sure his agent will be there too. Lots of
with the cutlets.
With the cutlets. All right, Scotty. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
You guys.
Pewter Report, Scott Reynolds right there. All right, we are counting down to our interview with Chris Latvala of the Pinellas County Commission. They have a big meeting at 2:00 today to vote on the bonds. Might be delayed. We'll find out what the feeling is with him. We got so much to talk about with him. That'll be big. We already have comments coming in on that, so we'll read those when we come back. Also want to get into some of the other. You and I need to talk about what that farce that went on at AT&T Stadium on Saturday. Or was that Friday night? Was that Friday night?
Friday night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a chance to go.
And you didn't go?
Hell no.
Hell's no.
Hell's to the nah.
Hell's to the no. We'll talk a little college football as well. We'll do a little whip around with USF, FSU. Some interesting things going on. Well, actually, it's not that interesting. I'm trying to sell it, but it's not.
Don't oversell it.
If you're an FSU fan, it might be interesting. For the rest of you, you can just laugh. You can just laugh. So maybe you'll get something out of it. And the Gators. What's going on in Gainesville? Holy moly. And this college football playoff is just going to be bonkers. We got the next poll coming out tonight. So lots to get to. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Folks, if you're having any issues with your insurance company and who's not, getting lowballed or what have you, You can go to the G's Law Group to help you with that. And also Italiano Insurance. They'll help you answer any questions. I just asked you to let them shop your insurance around. You maybe find a cheaper deal. They do that for a ton of people. So they'll save you money. They do all the work and save you money. Auto insurance, life insurance, any type of insurance. Business insurance is another one you really need to have. Flood insurance. So give them a call, 813-877-7799. Back in 3. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Hey, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There's been a lot of talk about lab-grown diamonds. Oh, they're just like the real thing. No, they're not. They're not the real thing. They're lab-grown. They're fake. You want to give your honey a fake diamond? Not a good way to start off the relationship, folks. Take my word for it. Get the real thing, and no place better to shop than the Gold and Diamond Source. And remember, if you shop anywhere else, you don't know if it's real. You don't know what you're buying. The Gold and Diamond Source has been in business for over 40 years. Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors in our community. You know it's real. It's the only place to shop. And if you're planning to purchase for the holidays, don't forget to take advantage of our layaway offer at the Gold and Diamond Source. You can reserve your favorite piece now and pay in easy installments, making your holiday shopping stress-free. As always, we offer up to 5 years interest-free financing for just $84 a month when you finance $5,000. It's the only place to shop for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
Let's go.
Right now.
Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by Palutini and the great folks at Cafe Paradiso. Look at that picture. Look at old Paulo cooking it up right there. Look at that.
He's
Everything
a master.
to order. Oh, so good. Look at that. Look at the food on the left side there. Look at it. The wine.
So amazing.
Lasagna right in the middle was just unbelievable. There's my veal marsala. Holy hell, that was good.
My veal picatas didn't buy my wine, but that wine didn't last very long.
Yeah, and then there's some Alfreds in the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had
The
some
oil and the bread.
Oh yes, and then the other red pasta. I said a little side of the angel hair.
Wow.
Yeah, Algranquia. Yes,
I'm flying to Tampa for dinner tonight.
So good. Cafe Paradiso, number 3 on the Open Table top 10 list. They're very proud of that. They are. So get your reservation now and tell them JP sent you. I know where Paulo texted me at the Lightning game, said I'm here on a first date, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll give you the VIP. Come on up. Meet me at the Fifth bar, and we'll bring you in the studio. Give you the VIP. Yeah. Nothing back.
Oh, come on, Paolo.
He must have been a good first date or a
Yeah, I
really
was gonna
bad
say,
one.
he must not have needed
gone
you.
wrong.
Poor Paolo. We
I
need an
I
update.
bet it
then.
went very well. I bet it went very well. And
We
he was
need an
just like,
update on the first date from Paolo then.
all right, I'll text him today. Maybe I'll go over there and say, what's up? What happened? What happened? Come on, you bring her in and press her with the big VIP tour? Come on, man. Anyway,
we
Cafe
need an
Paradiso is where it's at. It's breaking news. Breaking news from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Gage Gonsalves has been recalled from Syracuse. We just sent him back because Pointer was coming back. He played really well, though. Played really well in this stint. Obviously, the team played very well as well. But he's been recalled for tonight's game at Pittsburgh. So is Pointer not playing? I don't know. We thought Pointer was coming back. He was trending in the right direction. They practiced yesterday. Maybe he tweaked something and is not good to go. So Gage Gonsalves comes back against Pittsburgh tonight, who's been struggling. The Pens have been struggling mightily. So we'll see what happens tonight. And if they got Pittsburgh and then they get Columbus on Thursday before they come home to face whom? The Dallas Stars. Your Dallas Stars are
Dallas Stars.
I mean, other than Winnipeg, who's had a bad trip to Florida, like many people, bad trip to Florida.
Yeah.
But is Dallas suddenly the best team in the NHL?
11-6, third in the Central. I mean, we still got the Wild. I'm not scared of the Wild, though. The Wild don't do anything for me. We've already beaten the Wild.
I thought Dallas was better than that. Did they go on a losing streak or something? I don't
know. No, we've just got some. They've all been sprinkled in there. We did lose 3 out of 4 earlier to the Jets. Panther. We lost 2 to the Panthers back to back and a home and home.
Not cool.
Yeah, no. And then the Jets mixed in there. We beat when we beat the Blackhawks. But other than that, they're playing pretty well, man.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll see what happens tonight. 7:00 puck drop on Bally's, or what is it, FanDuel now. So you should be able to watch it on Spectrum or wherever you watch your Lightning with our good friend Dave Randorf and Brian Ingblom and Gabby. Love it when I do not enjoy. I love Steve Levy. Steve's a friend of the program. We love him.
Right.
When they do, but I'd much rather prefer our local guys. We love them. They do a great job. I think Dave is fantastic. Really, really good. All right, so let's do a little college football here, shall we? We got the rankings coming out tonight. Obviously, Georgia is back in. Everybody freaking out last week. Oh, could you have Georgia out? Oh, my God.
We said it was early, y'all. Come on.
So Georgia will be back in. What else will shake up tonight with losses last week? Ole Miss will move up, I'm guessing, in the
How about that scare from Oregon?
Invitational. Oh, Oregon?
Oregon got scared a little bit.
Wisconsin. You think they don't drop, though, right?
No, they won't drop. They won. Yeah, they won. They won't drop.
It's undefeated. So then we'll drop. But it'll mix up a little bit. We got some big games coming up. But Ole Miss has to come to the Swamp.
And you know what?
Where the Gators just put a hurting on LSU. Now, I know Ole Miss is a good football team. Jackson Dart's, their quarterback's been beat up a little bit. So that's a little iffy. They got a great defensive line. They paid out the ass for that defensive line, and theirs actually is earning their money, unlike Florida State's. So, so I think this is an interesting game. I didn't check the spread on it. What's the spread? Maybe I could guess the spread on Ole Miss, Florida.
Let's see. Let me look.
I'm gonna go 8.5. I'm gonna go 8.5 Ole Miss. 8.5.
All right.
LSU, I think, was favored by. I took the Gators last week. I should have taken the money line.
Yeah.
I bet them. I think they were getting 8.5 last week against LSU. It's like that's too much.
See.
Made some money on my Gators. I'm gonna say 8.5, 9, somewhere in there. Ole Miss favored.
Let's see, college.
Yep. And by the way, DJ Lagway will be playing. I don't think they had any significant injuries last week, but a great win. They're running the football really well with Bond. That big freshman. Oh, that dude is a load. DJ's, he played really well, very economic. Couldn't run much, but was 13 of 23, I think, Had hit some big passes when they needed to, and the defense just stepped up when they had to and really, really harassed Nussmeier. And it was a great win for the Gators. That place was rocking, and it's going to be rocking come Saturday. What do we got?
As of 11:15 Eastern time on Tuesday, Mississippi is favored by 10.
By 10?
With a 55.5 point overall or a total.
Double digits, huh?
10.
Double digits.
Boy, I'm liking that more and more for Florida.
I like the Gators. You give me double digits and them at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is rocking, and they're playing with confidence now. Where are you at, Gator fans, on Sunbelt Billy? Where are you at? I told you to stick with him. I was the voice of reason among you Gator fans. I was the voice of reason. Can't keep changing coaches. And all these Gator fans are like, oh, he sucks. He never should have hired him in the first place, blah, 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 blah. And that may end up being true. But right now, he has redeemed himself. And I think, and as you sit here as a Florida State Seminole, you're like, oh, man, we'd sure like to have a team like that that's playing the way they're playing. They play hard, and they're playing a lot of young kids too, playing a lot of youngsters. So,
there's an interesting trend here in the college football playoff rankings. As you know, all the unofficial ones, all the experts, the college football pundits come out with their, what theirs would be the day before the official ones come out. And out of the 13 ESPN experts that made their picks this morning, 8 of them have SMU at number 3.
Wow.
The other, 6?
Mm-hmm.
Don't even have SMU in the top 12.
That's weird.
Isn't that crazy?
So SMU is likely going to play Miami in the ACC championship game.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that'd be a good game, man.
Clemson looks like, I think they're on the outside looking in at this point. So unless somebody stubs their toe, it's Miami versus SMU in Charlotte, which there'll be like 12 people there.
And how crazy is that for SMU in their first season in the ACC?
It's embarrassing for the ACC, number one. That's embarrassing. But
it kind of should be.
We've long past embarrassed ourselves. I mean, my good friend Danny Cannell, who I love, and he takes so much crap. He put something out yesterday about all the non-conference games that the SEC has lost. He's like, the Conference of Champions, it's like, Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State but beat Alabama. Auburn lost to California. FSU beat California. And there's a few others. Now, of course, was it Texas beat Michigan? Georgia beat Clemson. He didn't include any of those. Right, so there's a few non-conference wins, but I think they may be under 500 in like legitimate non-conference games.
Right.
Which is not, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say, Georgia's not a playoff team. They are. They should be in the playoff. So should Alabama. So should Ole Miss. Who am I missing? Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss. LSU should not be. You're done.
Yeah.
I think Texas A&M. Where's Texas A&M? Are they playoff worthy?
Oh, they'll be playoff. I mean, right now they're not in the top 12.
Yeah.
That loss to South Carolina really, really killed them. Yeah. That may have done them in.
When did they play Texas?
Day after Thanksgiving.
So if they beat Texas,
they're in the playoffs.
Where's that game?
Kyle Field.
Ooh.
This guy will be there.
Ooh. Wow. I might want that one.
My family suite.
Oh, I definitely
former Texas governor and U.S. presidential candidate Rick Perry.
That's your family?
He's business partners with my cousin.
Cousin. Close enough.
So they share a suite. They both went to A&M, so they both share a suite there. So
yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take one if you got an extra laying around. They like that. Well, that won't be a tough ticket. That won't be a tough ticket.
No. But you know what's interesting here is I'm looking at the ACC standings. JP, Clemson is ahead of Miami by virtue of 2 more conference wins.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson is 7-1, Miami 5-1 in the ACC. Now, of course, that will balance out, right, in these final two weeks.
Mm-hmm.
As Miami has Wake Forest and Syracuse.
Right. There's no way they can lose either one of those games. Not
No.
even Miami can choke that
So
away.
what happens? Well, I guess then Miami they would win. They would beat out Clemson with the overall record of 11-1 as opposed to
Higher ranked. Yeah.
and the higher ranked. Yeah, they'd be higher ranked. So
Yeah,
there
'cause
you
Clemson lost to Georgia, and
Mhm.
what's that other loss to? I'm blanking on that. It's a conference loss.
go. They lost to Louisville. Louisville.
So, so Miami would be higher ranked, and they would get the split. Two highest ranked teams in the ACC go to the championship game. So that'll be
Right.
SMU and again, Miami. Please travel to Charlotte. Your fans, can you travel to Charlotte and fill it up? Because otherwise, there's going to be like 12 people there. I know SMU will travel, but they don't travel well, right? They don't bring a big contingent. They'll fill up luxury boxes, right? They're just rich people.
Right.
They'll
Tons
fill
of
up
rich
luxury
people.
boxes, but they're not going to sit out in the cold in Charlotte, not outside, not SMU people.
Does it
Hell
get
no.
cold in Charlotte?
Oh,
cold
yeah.
weather? Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
The first week of December in Charlotte is never, they could play in a place, in a tropical paradise in Florida, in Tampa, but no, they choose Charlotte, which is just mind numbing. Anyway, so that will, hopefully there'll be some people there because it's a big game. I mean, the winner
They play that at the
obviously-
Panthers at Bank of America Field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And obviously the winner's going to the playoff. It's a pretty big game. And by the way, if I need to remind Canes fans, 20 years, you've never won the ACC. Never got a championship. Never. Can you do it once before you leave the conference? You think once?
This would be the year to do it.
If you lose to SMU, that's such a Miami thing to do. But we'll see. Besides losing to Georgia Tech.
I'm hearing that Craig James and Eric Dickerson are negotiating for a final year of eligibility where they could play in this game. They needed to.
They don't need it. They're still living off their investments from the money they made at the Pony Express back then.
There's no question.
I love the documentary where Dickerson just sit there asking about who paid for the Trans Am, and he's like, "I'll never tell."
You know who paid for it?
Who paid for that?
The Aggies. The Aggies gave him that car because he committed to A&M, and he didn't want to go to A&M, but they gave him the car, so he's like, "All right."
What a Stu Sternberg thing to do. Yeah.
Then he's like, "You know what? I changed my mind.
Take your real estate money and build in Tampa."
And then what are the Aggies going to do? Tell on him? Hey, we gave him this car, and he's not going to come play for us now.
Right. That's right. Oh, nostalgia is wonderful.
So great.
Right, so note on the FSU game. This is horrible, but I have to say it. So Charleston is 1-10. FSU is 1-9. Right. Not only is it the battle of who can get to 2. It's not only battle of who can get to 2. It's who can get to 24. Neither team has scored 24 points this year.
Oh my God. The battle for 2 and the battle for 24.
Dude, can we take the under? We take the under here. I don't even know what. I think the FSU is 33-point favorite. They haven't scored 33 points in 2 games. How can you? This is the first time a team's ever been favored by a number that they haven't actually scored in a game in this season. Yes, I don't even have to fucking look it up. Yes, it is the first time ever a team has been favored by a number that they haven't even scored in a game. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, especially in like week 11, just like, oh my God. And if Mike Norvell truly is trying to get fired, well, here's your opportunity.
About to happen.
Yeah. So and this is on like ACC Network Plus.
I'm not even seeing Florida State in the odds here.
No, it's probably off the board.
Yeah.
It's on ACC Plus, whatever the hell. It's not even on ESPN Plus. It's like ACC Plus. Like it's like live streaming a high school game this weekend.
It's closed circuit cable. What are they? Cable access. That's what they call it.
Yeah, cable access. Yeah.
You go watch Wayne's World and then flip over to see Florida State.
There could be some dude on the sideline wearing a headset. Gonna go down
play-by-play
down to the sideline to
some student.
Little Jenny from Leon High School doing doing outside lines this week.
He's in a golf cart rolling up and down, trying to keep up with the line of scrimmage. Like the old Booger Mobile on Monday Night Football.
Oh, my God. All right. Chris Latvala is coming up here in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and take a break and clear the floor for him. This is going to be interesting. All right, quick break here on the JP Peterson Show. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, another great local company that supports our show. We thank Julie and Steve Weintraub. Been with me, I think, for 13 or 14 years. They are great folks in the community, do so much, and we really appreciate that. And it's a great place to go shopping for Christmas, folks. Support all our local businesses, especially the Gold and Diamond Source. They always have the best sales. They have the best staff, and they are the best folks. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Chris Latvala coming up next of the Pinellas County Commission. Stay with us. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of five-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now.
Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. An interview I've been looking forward to for quite some time. I want to welcome in Chris Latvala. Hope I'm saying that correctly, Chris. If I pronouncing that correctly, of the Pinellas County Commission. Welcome into the show. Really appreciate you jumping in here. And first and foremost, I want to establish you as the Rays fan that you are, because I heard you do an interview yesterday, and I said, this dude knows the prospects. He's been around forever. Let these people know how much you love the Rays and how much you love baseball. You've been around since the Esteban Gone days, which I used to love. And you know that what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Those
I
gigantic,
remember,
right?
I remember going to the games and, late 90s, early 2000s. And, when we had a lead in the seventh inning and certain members of the Rays bullpen got in the game was effectively over. And so, the Lou Pinella days, were a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Quentin McCracken, Damian Rolls,
Q.
Aubrey Huff, the Hit Show, Vince Namoli, of course.
Right.
And so I'm a Rays fan through and through. And, the current regime of the Rays, has some of the brightest baseball minds in the MLB. Several general managers and front office folks around the league got their start in Tampa Bay.
Right.
And so, whether it's, the Willie Adames trade when he was a throw-in, and he turned into who he was. We fleeced the Mets in trades. We have bright front office people, and I used to complain when we traded veterans, but now it's okay. Well, we get Isak Paredes. I'm going to keep my mouth shut because he's going to end up becoming an all-star, somebody that I've never heard of. And so and Kevin Cash does a great job and turns in, we get a new bullpen, it seems like every year. And they just, I think the Rays invented the opener.
Yes, we did.
And now that's used all throughout the game. Even the Dodgers used it this year in the World Series, and they have one of the highest payrolls.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, from a baseball perspective, the Rays, are geniuses.
Yeah.
And they're really inventive and I think really Joe Madden started that, thinking outside the box and in 08 and the years after that. And I remember the 08 season waiting on the Rays to, take a plunge in the standings, and that never happened. And a lot of that reason was because of Joe Madden.
Yeah. Best team we ever had.
Yeah.
By far. Well, we've established you as a longtime Rays fans. And I think what people probably need to know here is that you love baseball and you want the Rays here, but this is not the deal to get it done. It may not be the time to get it done with the Pinellas County Commission approving not $312 million, but $600 million with interest, because you have to pay interest on bonds. And that's why I always say, it's always printed as $312 million. It's not that. It's way more than that. And it's a lot of money. It's the most you guys have ever given anybody, anything, anywhere. And delaying a vote may not be a horrible idea. Just tell everybody where you are on this deal right now.
In July at the meeting, I said, okay, if it's $300 million and we can do $10 million a year for 30 years, I'm a yes. If it's $300 million and we can do $30 million a year for 10 years, I'm a yes. That's not how it works. With construction costs and all that, we have to front the money. And so we don't have that sitting in the bank, so we would have to finance it. And so the financing would be over 30 years, it'd be over $600 million. So when you count what the county is contributing, when you count what the city's contributing, it's over $1 billion.
Public money.
That's before the land deal that the Rays are getting that's separate. That's before that's even put on the table. And there's estimates that that's going to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars as well.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it from the totality, and the reason that I gave for opposing it being one of two votes in July, and you can go back and look at the meeting, I mentioned two things. I mentioned the beaches and beach nourishment, and I mentioned the possibility of if we have a hurricane in future years. I didn't know that hurricane would come a couple months later.
Right.
And we had two of them. I mentioned the beaches and beach nourishment, and I mentioned the land deal as the two reasons. And I also mentioned if we could, if it was just $300 million and not having to finance it, I would have been a yes. Yeah. And so I just didn't, I love baseball, but more important than that, I'm a county commissioner that has to answer to my constituents.
And you've been vilified for this, and I think unfairly so. I wasn't thrilled when it appeared you were trying to hold the Rays hostage to play in Pinellas County, because I knew Baycare Park wasn't ready for that, and Steinbrenner was, and I think that's something you may have learned since then. And I understand it with the money. And by the way, why don't you ask the Rays to do a ticket package where the people have to stay in Pinellas County when they come to Rays games in Tampa? That would be a nice thing. Like, it will give you a lower ticket price for your package if you book it. And people are going to stay at the beach anyway if they come to see the Rays. At least I would. If I'm coming from Boston and New York, I'm not staying in downtown Tampa. I'm going to the beach. But anyway,
well, the Rays didn't talk to anybody.
Exactly. I was leading up to this.
And I go to, whether it's Threshers games or whether it's Phillies spring training games, I've been to that stadium a bunch of times. I've never taken a tour of their, clubhouse. I've never taken a tour of, the baseball part of it.
Right.
So I'm not familiar with, okay, this is up to MLB standards. This isn't. All they had to do is say, hey, this makes playing in Clearwater more difficult. I knew from being a baseball fan that in 2021, Dunedin had Major League Baseball games during the regular season. Yeah, that stadium is a lot smaller than Steinbrenner.
Right.
But, my biggest complaint was we're using the tourist bed tax dollars to pay for this stadium. And if they're not playing in Pinellas, we're using up the very sources that we're not going to be able to recoup by them not playing here. And so that was my big complaint. And I also had and have concerns that the trop will be able to be repaired. And they weren't really talking about that either. And that's more of the city, the city concern, not the county concern. Well, what happens if the Rays decide to play in Steinbrenner for the next 3 or 4 years?
Right.
I mean, that's, 10% of the time that we're going to be financing this deal. And if they're not playing in Pinellas County, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Because in the it was like 1994, 95, whatever year that original contract use agreement was between the city and the Rays, or the baseball team, it basically states that St. Petersburg has to provide a place for them to play. Well, now they don't have a place for them to play. So there's an argument to be made that the Rays could just say, okay, instead of repairing the trop, give us X amount of dollars. And okay, well, if that happens, they're not going to be in Pinellas County.
Yeah.
So, it's my job to look out for my constituents, look out for our residents and our taxpayers. And so, I'm not just going to say, okay, we'll go have fun in Tampa and I'll drive across the bridge and watch a game.
And the fact the Rays didn't come to the county commission, they're not coming to the vote today, I believe, right? I think I've read that.
I mean, I hope they're there. They weren't at the last meeting. I hope they're there today.
Have you talked to them recently? Have you had any contact with them?
Not particularly, no.
And I got to ask you this, what do you think's happening in the vote today? All right, and what would your vote be if you had to vote today?
I mean, a no vote effectively kills the deal, and I don't want to kill the deal. And so, I would be, in favor of just delaying it and seeing, okay, because we have until March to approve the bonds.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. The original deadline was March to approve the bonds, and here, if I can bring Stu into this, he's like, I'm killing the deal now because we've got, according to him. And by the way, I'm not going to take everything that he says and says to the Times as gospel because we've been fooled many, many times before.
Right.
He's been very disingenuous about things, and so I'm not just going to take it on face value. How is it you can't go forward when the deadline was originally March anyway? That doesn't work for me. Does that work for you guys?
Well, and you've been around, long enough to know that he's used this tactic for 10 years.
Yes,
if
absolutely.
I've
highlighted it well on my show.
I'm going here, So, and it's interesting that he always uses a particular reporter and a particular newspaper to,
Yeah, I've had issues with that as well. They don't, I know
use
Channel
his,
10 sent some questions over there, Elvin McCloskey.
right.
They're not answered. We've
Right,
tried
right.
why not do a press conference? We're talking about the biggest expenditure in the history of the county and the city.
Right,
And
right.
we can't have the owner do a press conference and be accountable to all media instead of just talking to one.
And I really feel bad for the position that the Rays are in. And,
I do too.
And the fact that the Trop was damaged. 40,000 houses in Pinellas County suffered severe damage as a result of the 2 hurricanes. The Rays are not the only business in town that was devastated by the hurricanes.
Right.
We don't go around giving $1 billion to each of those businesses.
That's right.
And so I would expect them to come to the table and say, okay, the situation is different than it was. Yeah. And I find it ironic that the county commission delayed one time, and he's saying, okay, they're not good partners, when if you go back a year ago, when it's first starting, or maybe even more than a year ago, and you look, it was consistently delayed at the city council level. Oh, we're having a meeting this week to vote on it. Oh no, we're pushing it back a month. Well, it wasn't because they were worried about the votes. I can give you that much. It was because there were people that were negotiating that wanted to add things to it.
Yeah.
And those people were not the city or the county. And so
that was the Rays. It was the Rays asking for everything. Correct. Yeah, this has been called by people who have worked, by former mayors and people that have worked in county administrating and have done other deals, that have looked at the deal as the worst deal we've ever seen in a stadium. It's the smallest city municipality to ever give the biggest corporate welfare tax subsidy for a stadium ever. I mean, the deal is terrible. It's been terrible from the beginning, in my opinion. And to me, I just see a county commissioner who's standing up to it and saying, I love baseball. I want baseball to stay here, but this is not fiscally responsible. And put on top of it now, an estimated $60 million in repairs. I've seen the pictures. Yeah. It's way more than that. And that's by visual estimates, by the way, folks. That's not engineers getting in there and actually seeing what's there. This is going to be over, I'm saying, close to $100 million. You're going to try and repair the Trop and then blow it up 2 years later, 3 years later. And the mayor actually called this fiscally responsible. I don't get that. I don't get that. I know you met with the mayor yesterday. What transpired?
Yeah, I mean, the mayor and I are on opposite political spectrums. But I believe that he's an honest guy, and certainly he wants the Rays to stay, and he's trying to keep the deal together. And it was a productive meeting, and I don't want to speak for him, but I don't think the Rays are really talking to too many people in town.
Do you think they're trying to get out of the deal, and so Stu can take the real estate money, the huge windfall there of $600-700 million, and maybe sell the team? Do you think it seems like to me, if I really wanted to get the deal done, I'd be number one talking to Pinellas and saying, "Hey, sorry we didn't talk to you guys, but here's the deal and why we had to go." And I'm sure Major League Baseball had a big say in that. It just wasn't the Rays, but he hasn't done any of that.
I think when you have tried to for 10 years to say, if we don't get what we want, we're leaving town, and you don't show up to a meeting when they're voting to give you $300 million, well, actually $600
million. I'll correct you.
And then there's another meeting, and the county commission makes it clear, hey, we want you to stay in Pinellas County, talk to us. And at the meeting that we had last week, or week before last, several of my colleagues said, we haven't talked to them. We want them to stay in Pinellas. I was not the only one.
Right.
An hour after that meeting, they had a press conference or a press release with the Yankees saying, we're playing in Tampa. I mean, that's not how you conduct business.
I
So,
agree.
I mean, if I'm trying to get out of a deal, I go to the newspaper and say, oh, well, they postponed one meeting, deal's off. Well, we still have 3 or 4 months to try to get something together. And
may I jump in here and say,
Yeah.
and unfairly in that report, by the way, and that whole article that John Romano wrote, it basically painted you as the villain. You as the villain, and you got death threats, so much so they had to arrest somebody. I hope you and your family are safe. That's just unconscionable. And there was nobody standing up saying, except maybe me, hey, wait a minute, it's not this guy's fault. He was a no vote to begin with anyway.
Right.
What are we doing? Why are we putting it on him? Come on now.
And for 2 years, the Times has written several times that, oh, by the way, the Phillies gave a political donation to his father, which was $10,000. Political donation, not a personal donation. They have never reported, oh, by the way, the Rays also gave his father a political donation. Those political donations total up to $30,000.
Oh, interesting. We didn't put that in the story?
No. And for 2 years, I've asked them, hey, please make this correction. Saturday, I emailed them, hey, please make this correction. And John Romano wrote back and said, I don't believe that this is relevant. I don't understand how him getting a Phillies donation is relevant to a Rays vote, but my father getting Rays donations is not relevant to me voting on a Rays stadium.
It's absolutely relevant, 100%.
Right.
And
then bizarrely in the same email, and I posted it online, he said, you also didn't mention that the Rays gave $1 million to the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber of Commerce for hurricane relief. Well, I'm a Rays fan, but I don't work in their PR department. It's not my job to go on the county commission and say, hey, by the way, did y'all see that the Rays gave $1 million to hurricane relief?
Yeah, absolutely not. Do you trust Stu Sternberg? I mean, he was sued by his partners. I read that whole lawsuit. It's full of a lot of bad allegations. And I've said this before on my program. If I was giving away this much money to a billionaire, I would certainly want to make sure that I'm dealing with somebody on the up and up and really has Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg as their as something they want to champion. And at every turn, Stu Sternberg has said St. Petersburg is not a major league city. We cannot exist here. He's dogged St. Petersburg as a site for years, said he wanted to move to Tampa, and suddenly he got a deal where he got everything, and now St. Pete is the place to play. I think that's a little disingenuous, but he wanted to get the deal done. We've noted what a terrible deal it is for the taxpayers, something you don't agree with. Do you trust to do business with Stu Sternberg in this situation?
Well, Stu Sternberg and I have different priorities, I believe. And I've actually only met him twice. The first time being about a year ago. The first time we met was at a social charity event, and we actually talked about Rays baseball. And I was complimenting him on the minor league system that they've developed and how it was good every year. And then we've had one meeting about the stadium, but he's not who I talked to or dealt with on the stadium matters. And we have different priorities. His priority is to make the most money as possible for his team. Kudos to him. That's part of running a business. He's done very well with the Rays. I believe that they, probably turn a profit every year because of revenue sharing, TV deal, things like that.
A handsome profit.
Yeah. And to his credit, they have a competitive team. Regardless.
Yeah, but we'd all like to see a little bit more payroll. We'd all like to see that. And once again, today they were shown that they're third worst in the league in free agent spending in the last few years. He has the money.
But they do the best with what they put on the field. They're a competitive product.
They do.
My priority, though, is I want the best deal possible for the taxpayer, and the best deal for our residents. I would not put him in the same league as a Jeff Vinnick, you know, when it comes to community relations. I would not, you know, when he's no longer the owner of the Rays, he's, you know, not going to be a, you know, around in the community. He's not
I would
going
agree
to
with
be,
that.
you know, he's not going to be, you know, like even the Steinbrenner family. You know, they're active, you know, in Tampa,
Yes.
or the, you know, Glazer family, or, you know, people like that.
They've done a great job. Yes.
Right. And so he has different priorities, and I don't fault him for that. But his main priority is, you know, getting the most money as he possibly can. And so, you know, that's just, you know, his deal.
How do you think this deal can be saved and be responsible to the taxpayers? Do you think the Rays would agree to put in more money or do this differently? And they listen, there's a huge amount of money available in this real estate deal that could be put towards the stadium. I know he's allowed to sell that. He could literally sell it tomorrow to Hines for what it's really worth, up to $600 to $700 million. The other acreage, just sell the team and walk with the money. Like that's that, and that's what we've heard that could ask something I predicted 2 months ago, by the way. And the stadium would never be built. Do you think that's possible?
Oh, I mean, that's certainly possible. You know, and that's what some of our frustration was in July. You know, I have not spoken to my colleagues, you know, of course, because of the sunshine law. I saw a article this morning in the Times, you know, that talked about what some of my colleagues were thinking. And it does seem like, you know, some that were no's could be persuaded to yeses by doing something similar to what you said. And, you know, hey, you know, business is different than it was just a few months ago. We had two hurricanes.
Yes.
And, you know, you know, nobody wants to see baseball leave, but, you know, some of us that said this wasn't a friendly deal in July, now 2 hurricanes later, it certainly is not a friendly deal when we don't know what the Army Corps is going to do with the beaches.
Yeah, and that money, by the way, I think another misnomer is that this money can only be used for stadiums and some other things, but it can also be used for beach renourishment and things, right? That money could be used for things that bring more people in. So it's something, right?
And we're currently in a fight with the federal government and the Army Corps of Engineers, because for decades that was something that the Army Corps of Engineers did. Now they're not doing it. They're saying that residents along the beaches have to sign easements over, which is a private property issue that I'm not going to bore sports fans with. But that's something that's never going to happen because you have to get 100% of those property owners to do that.
Okay.
I believe that the federal government should do that. But if they don't, we're going to have to pay for that ourselves. And also FEMA has said, if you pay for it yourselves and a hurricane or any kind of storm comes, you will not get FEMA reimbursement. So that also puts us behind the 8 ball. And
part of the reason you're delaying the vote to find out how that's going to pan out. And you have an owner that's saying, I don't care that you've had hurricanes. It's just like no, if you delay it, I'm out. Even though the deadline was March, if you delay, I'm out. I mean, come on. I mean, it's a little.
So the vote to delay was 6-1.
Right.
The vote to approve the project in July was 5-2. 5 people for, 2 people against.
It's
Fast
a reasonable
to after the hurricane. The vote to delay was 6-1. So you do the math, and there's several people that voted for the project. Then said, okay, wait, let's delay this because there are now variables that we were not expecting that we need to have some time on. And then you have Stu saying, oh, well, they're no longer, partners, and, baseball may be gone.
So the bottom line is on this, Chris, if there was a renegotiation of this, given the terms, and the fact that the Trop has to be rebuilt, and that's another huge expenditure.
Yeah.
I mean, is it the worst thing in the world if the deal gets scuttled and And I don't think they're leaving Tampa Bay, by the way. I don't think Major League Baseball is leaving the 11th largest market with the 18th largest market right down the road in Orlando. That's not happening. It doesn't fit their business model. They have a lot of national television contracts that are tied to that. It's not happening. And if the team did go back to Tampa and found a home there, your constituents would still be able to go to Rays games. So it's not the worst thing. I was in Atlanta when the Braves did that deal, and the mayor said, look, I don't have money for the Falcons and you. If you want to go to Cobb County, that's great. Fine. I don't have to pay for it. My constituents can still have the Braves. And that has been a tremendous deal for Cobb County and the Braves. And they won a Super Bowl using that money, or a World Series using that money. So it's not the worst thing in the world. We want the Rays to stay, and it's best for the area. And I've always said this, Chris, St. Pete and Pinellas, we're a family here. You guys have the beaches, the beautiful beaches that we love. That's why we live here. You have a beautiful downtown. You have the PGA Tour event that's there. That's unbelievable in Innisbrook. You have the Pelican. I was just there on
the Annika
event. You have the Grand Prix that's there. You have soccer, and that all works so great there. The beautiful downtown. It's just, in my opinion, it's not the place for a baseball stadium because of the location. It's a you don't need it, by the way. Build a convention center or a cruise port with that money, and you'll get a lot better return, by the way. And you can still go to Rays games. That seems to me like the best alternative. I know you want the Rays to stay in St. Pete, but that's where I'm coming from.
If they go to Tampa, I'm completely fine. You know, my feelings will not be hurt, and it will save us a ton of money. And I would be the first one that is shaking whoever brings them to Tampa's hands. And I would offer to buy tickets to go and see them. I just don't think, $1 billion to keep them in St. Pete is worth it. And if we're paying them, they need to be in Pinellas. That's been my whole argument. Whether they play in Pinellas or Hillsborough, if they want to play in Hillsborough, I'm fine with it. Full time. If they play in Hillsborough while Pinellas County's paying them, that's another issue.
I get, and I totally get that as well. I just think, if we looked at this from a regional standpoint, that's what we would do. And the constant in this whole thing, and people say, oh, Tampa doesn't have the money, Hillsborough doesn't have the money. They don't have the money that St. Pete did to give up front. But in the long run, the Rays would make more money with the deal that Hillsborough offered. I think it's a much more reasonable deal for the taxpayers. It's responsible to the taxpayers. And Tampa could get it done. The reason it hasn't been done is the same constant. It's never been done. And that's Stu Sternberg, because he wants everything and gives nothing. It's always a one-way conversation. That's what I've heard from the people that have negotiated with him. I was part of the Rays 100 when we did the deal, and we've constantly told there was no corporate support. That's a bold-faced lie. We had tons of corporate support. And so if there was new ownership and MLB forced new ownership, there would be a deal done within months in Hillsborough County. That's my opinion. And it would be best for the area. And you guys could build a beautiful convention center and make way more money. You think about it. It's actually $2.4 billion cost to taxpayers totally. When you talk about the lost real estate deal, the interest on the payments, it's $2.4 billion to taxpayers in Pinellas and in the city of St. Pete. And you could sell that in the Kreisman plan for over $1 billion. That's a $3 billion switch. And you'd have a much better downtown. You'd have a much better. And as you said, if you put this up for a vote in Pinellas County and St. Pete, what do you think the margin would be? I think it would be 70-30 against.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say over 60% against, but you might be right that it would be closer to 70. Because do I want a new stadium, a Rays stadium? Absolutely. Ask anybody on the street, do you want a new Rays stadium? Oh, absolutely. Do you want to pay $1 billion from your taxes or public funds for it? The answer would be no.
No.
And it'd probably, by the end of the day, it'd be over $1 billion. And, when you talk about them moving, show me another area in the country that has $600 million of public funds or more sitting on the table saying, okay, we're ready to have a sports team.
In addition to a $1.5 billion relocation fee or $1 billion relocation fee the owner would have to pay, in addition to buying the team for $2 billion. And people just think, oh, they're going to Nashville, they're going to Portland, they're going. No. And by the way, MLB has to approve that. A move. And why would they do that to themselves? Take an expansion fee from themselves and just, oh yeah, Stu, we love you. Yeah, go. That's cool.
And the other owners would much rather have expansion than have
Yes.
another team relocate.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, I mean, that's why he was, literally laughed at when he wanted to do the split city concept with Montreal.
That's right. That's right.
So,
well, Chris, listen, I hope you and your family are safe.
Oh, yeah.
I hope
good.
that nothing comes of any of that stuff. And I hope people stop vilifying you for doing what your constituents voted you to do.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you being bold enough to stand up for this and stand up for what's right, because it's so easy to just roll over and do the wrong thing. And I appreciate your courage in doing so and speaking out about it. I do appreciate that. So
thank you very much, JP. Good
All
to
right,
be
Chris,
with you.
appreciate it. Be well. Well, there you go. Man, I've looked forward to doing one of those interviews for a long, long time. And I really appreciate Chris doing that. And as I said, speaking up. Tim, you get first crack at this as a reaction to that interview.
I tell you what, and I've said this before when we discussed this. My biggest takeaway from all of this is what a freaking mess. This thing is a mess. Hearing him talk about it, by the way, very calmly, very astutely, and very professionally, clearly that's his approach from it. And he's clearly got the interest of the voters, of the residents, in best interest, right? He's going to do, and that's his job. His job is to protect them. And that's what he's doing. I don't understand the backlash. I mean, I guess I do from an uneducated.
Well, it's because the way it's been presented.
Right.
Like he's the guy that's killing the deal. And that's just not correct.
Yeah.
That is a complete gaslighting of what's going on here.
The deal
and I
is
think
killing
we brought
the deal.
that out. The deal is killing. Yes, that is
it's a
so
bad
well
deal.
put, because it's a bad deal. It just was super exposed by the Hurricanes. And Chris even said it. He was a no vote beforehand because he was smart enough to say, you know what, we get hurricanes here, and we get and that. And by the way, I've said it way before the hurricane. I can't believe it lasted this long with a fabric roof in Hurricane Alley.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been blessed to not take a direct hit. We finally did, and this is completely predictable. First, by the way, for a roof that was 10 years past its life.
For the original roof on the structure.
Yeah, who could have seen that coming? Everybody. So, I mean, it's just, I appreciate him doing that. And I don't want people to get it twisted. The Rays leave, it's your fault. No, it's Stu Sternberg's fault. It's not Chris Latvala's fault. It's Stu Sternberg's fault if they leave, because he wouldn't do a responsible deal. You've been through two of these in Arlington. Was the owner such a pain in the ass that he asked for everything to get the deal done? No, they worked with it to make it happen. Right?
I mean, like I said, in both most recent stadium deals with Cowboy Stadium and then Globe Life Field, the owner said, you know what, whatever it is, I'm going to chip in half of it's $600 million, right? For Cowboy Stadium, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
The price tag is $600 million for this deal. Anything I'll pay for half, anything over, I'll cover. The deal was $1.2 billion is what it came out to. Jerry Jones flipped the $300 million, and then everything after that was over. The city ended up chipping in another $150. The NFL gave $150. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, and it's
been
a tremendous success.
When it becomes hard,
and people will say, well, JP, they were going to pay half of this and the cost overruns. Yes, but they were also getting a huge windfall in the real estate deal.
Right.
So if you give them a $700 million real estate deal that he's going to profit from, and his cost is $700 million, well, what's his true cost?
Right.
Zero. That's why the deal is so bad. So yes, sure, I'll pay $700 million. You giving me the $700 on the back end of the real estate deal? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, and we'll play cost overruns. Look, we look so great, but come on, we're not that dumb. As much as Stu likes to think we're that stupid, we're not that dumb. And again, I have nothing against Stu Sternberg. He's been nice to me when the times I've talked to him. And this is not personal against him.
Are you sure he knew who you were?
Yeah. We had coffee in Havana. It was beautiful.
Okay, there you go.
But with his lovely wife, and it was great. And I have nothing personal against the guy. I just don't like the way the deal has been done. I don't like the way he's negotiated with Tampa. I don't like the way he's negotiated with the previous mayors about the way he's run this. That's it. That's what I don't like. It's nothing personal against him. And me as a broadcaster and someone who's been in this market for 27 years, I think I have the right to say this is wrong. And it's not the best way to do this. I'm just trying to do my job. I'm not trying to be mean or nasty. I'm just trying to represent. And look, I've got some, as Jeff Stutler said, great interview, JP, and getting it out there. And Stu is a coward who only cares about his pockets and not the Tampa St. Pete area. I'm not the only person that feels this way. Stu's mess. Stu the flipper. Rick says, better hope FEMA doesn't see any Trump flags on the beach. Absolutely. William Madden, great interview. Elijah Barnes, JP, the people's champ. Thank you for using your voice and doing this interview. I'd rather see a delay than a no vote, Mario Christian says. I agree with you. And listen, if they can delay and get a good deal, that's right. I don't think it's ever going to work in St. Pete, but it's better than what we're doing right now. As Thomas Casper points out, it's a $100 million repair and zero FEMA money is coming. I would agree with that. There's a lot of people that feel this way. Rick says, Stu and the TBT, stay strong, Chris. The truth will always prevail no matter how much they lie. So again, it's like, I know I talked to so many people about this for so long. I just want the right deal. And I honestly believe this. I believe MLB can get Stu to sell the team at a $2 billion profit, a $1.5 billion profit he's going to make on this deal, in addition to all the money he's already made from this team over the 14, 15 years, which is significant.
Yeah.
He can take I'd hate to see him take the real estate deal because that's bad for that's money lost to the taxpayers. I think that's reprehensible that he would do that, quite frankly. And if MLB can get him, there are people lined up to buy this team. And if you can get someone who's locally interested, and there are those people, there have been in the past. Dan Doyle's group, I don't know if they're still viable, maybe not, but there are others that I know of that are willing to do this if they can build in Tampa and there's no money. There's money. The SITs just passed the other day. It's not a blank check. It's a long-term deal that works for everybody, and it works for the region. Because
Chris outlined that. Chris outlined that in the interview.
Yes.
And to me, this is why it's important to get a local guy if possible.
Yes.
You get a New York guy like Stu. He doesn't care about the local neighborhoods. He doesn't care about the people. He's from New York. He just wants to make money for himself. And look, we have stadium deals in all of the major leagues that get done almost on a yearly basis
all
now.
the time.
People are building stadiums everywhere. And there is always compromise. There is always a way to work things out that's in the best interest of the owner, that's in the best interest of the neighborhood, the city, the municipality, the county. The only time it doesn't work is in this particular situation when you've got one side that wants more than what he deserves for it, that he's not entitled to. And by the way, that's always the owner's side of the team, because the county or the city is run by a committee. Right, a council. So you can't have one guy being greedy on the city council. It doesn't work that way. It's always on the owner's side. And this is what happens. And it's a shame. It's really a shame. I feel bad for the people of Tampa and St. Pete, the entire Tampa Bay area, because you don't deserve this.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chris did not deserve the vitriol that he got. And that's
I can't believe that.
Awful. All right. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Appreciate I can see the numbers have been big on this interview, and we're going to get it out on social media to get even more feedback on this. And again, we just want what's best for the region, folks, what's best for the people of Tampa, what's best for the people of St. Pete, etc. And not to have someone just run roughshod over us and force a deal that's not in the county's, in the city's best interest. And I'm going to tell you, if the deal goes through long-term, you're going to be sorry. You're going to be sorry. It's not the way you want to do this. So take a deep breath, delay the vote. Let's get this right. We've done it. We've waited this long. And I know you guys are tired of talking about it, but I'm telling you, remove the one constant, and they can walk with billions of dollars. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Let us do this. Let us do this in Tampa Bay the way we know we should have done it from the beginning. In the middle of the market, the beaches, St. Pete is a huge treasure for us, but it's not where a baseball stadium should be. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Timmy. Appreciate you. Thanks to Scott Reynolds as well. We will see you tomorrow. We'll get more reaction on this tomorrow. We got more people that want to jump in. We're going to have some dissenting opinions tomorrow, and I've invited them on, as I always do. So have a great day, everybody. Go Bolts tonight.
Yeah.